The wall clock had always been there, quietly keeping time. But one morning it stopped completely. And when I pulled the dead battery out, I realized I did not have another one like it anywhere in the house. I stood there for a moment, holding that dead battery, thinking about how something so small could stop the whole clock. This clock has been on the wall for years. It marked mornings, dinners, and quiet evenings at home. I was not in a hurry to throw it away. I checked my drawer and the toolbox, but I did not have another battery like it. Instead of giving up, I decided to slow down and think it through. I asked myself a simple question. Can I power this clock in another way using what I already have at home? That is what I want to show you today. First, I make a simple dummy battery from paper. I take a sheet of paper and roll it tightly into a round tube, about the same size as the original clock battery. I use a little super glue to keep it from unrolling. Then I slide it into the clock battery slot to check the fit. If it is too long, I trim it carefully with a utility knife until it sits just right, snug but not forced. Once the size is correct, I take a marker and clearly mark the positive end and the negative end on the paper tube. I also write 1.5 volts on the side to remind myself what the clock expects. Now I add the wires to the paper battery core. I take 2 wires, one blue and one brown, so it is easy to tell them apart later. I strip the insulation off both ends of each wire. On one end, I strip it a little longer and twist the copper tightly into a small spiral. This spiral will act like the positive contact of a real battery. Let me know your location in the comments. What state are you in, and what projects are you working on at home? I place that brown wire spiral right on the positive mark I made on the paper tube. I hold it flat and centered, then add a small drop of super glue to lock it in place. I do not rush this part. I wait a few seconds until the glue grabs and the wire does not move. Next, I take the blue wire and place its stripped end on the negative mark of the paper tube. Again, I use a small amount of super glue and press it gently until it sets. When both wires are fixed, I check that they are secure and pointing straight out. Nothing should be loose. Finally, I slide this paper battery back into the clock's battery holder. Now I mount the lithium-ion battery onto the clock. I use a 3.6 volt rechargeable lithium-ion cell. First, I choose a flat spot on the back of the clock where the battery will not interfere with the mechanism or the wall. I press the battery firmly onto the clock case and hold it there for a few seconds until it sets. I make sure it is secure and does not move when I gently shake the clock. Next, I connect the blue wire from the paper battery core to the negative terminal of the lithium-ion battery. I twist the wire tightly so it makes good contact. I leave the brown wire free for now, because this battery is 3.6 volts, and the clock only needs about 1.5 volts. That voltage difference matters, and we will handle it in the next step. If we connect it directly, we can damage the clock. To solve this, I use standard 1N4007 rectifier diodes, which are easy to find and very reliable. Each 1N4007 diode drops about 0.6 to 0.7 volts. By connecting several diodes in series, we can safely lower the voltage step by step. I take 4 diodes and line them up in the same direction. You can tell the direction by the silver band on the diode body. All the silver bands must face the same way. Next, I solder the diodes together end to end. I make clean solder joints and check that each connection is solid. This chain of diodes will act like a simple voltage reducer. After that, I solder one end of the diode chain to the positive terminal of the lithium-ion battery. I make sure the connection is tight and secure. Then I solder the other end of the diode chain to the brown wire coming from the paper battery core, which goes into the clock. Before moving on, I pause and double-check everything. The blue wire is still on the negative terminal. The brown wire now goes through the diodes. Nothing is loose, and no bare wires are touching each other. Once I know the clock is running properly, I move on to the next part, adding a charging port so I never have to open this clock again just to change a battery. First, I choose a simple DC power jack. This is the same type you see on many small electronics. It is reliable and easy to work with. Next, I connect the charging wires. The positive terminal of the DC jack goes to the positive side of the lithium-ion battery. The negative terminal goes to the negative side. I solder these connections carefully and make sure the joints are strong. A weak solder joint can cause charging problems later. Once the wiring is done, I use hot glue to secure the DC jack firmly to the clock body. I also add a small amount of glue to hold the wires in place so nothing moves or rubs against the clock mechanism over time. After the glue cools, I plug in the charger for the first time. I watch closely for a moment. Nothing heats up. Nothing smells. That tells me the connections are correct. I let the battery charge for a while, then unplug it. This kind of simple fix saves money and keeps good things in the family. If you enjoyed this project, tap like, subscribe, and share it with someone who still enjoys fixing things the right way.